Hello YouTubers, 411 Deshaun here. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the AT&T Fusion. Now to start off this review, it has a 3.5 capacitive touchscreen display with 320 by 480 resolution. It's running Android's 2.3.3 OS firmware. This is not Gingerbread, it's just OS, which I think it runs perfectly fine. It also has a 600 MHz processor. It supports up to microSD cards of 32 GB or more. Bluetooth capability, has a built-in FM radio, built-in GPS, and a 3.5 megapixel camera and a video recorder, and it also has a 14 milliamp hour battery. Now that was just some of the specs on the phone. Now let's get into some of the hardware features on the phone. On the top of the AT&T Fusion, you have a 3.5mm headphone jack. I know it looks kind of small. I thought it was going to be a 2.5 when I unboxed it. You have a power on and off key, also your lock button. Right there is your little hatch to remove your battery back. And on the back of the phone you have the 3.5 megapixel camera or 3.2 megapixel camera, the sticker telling you how to remove the battery, speaker grill. On the bottom you have your micro USB charging port and your mic, so when you talk into it to do a voice command. Now on the front you have your 3.5 touchscreen display. Now before I get any farther into this, you guys can see the camera, right? This phone is it attracts fingerprints so much. I don't know why, but this phone attracts a lot of fingerprints. But as you guys can see, I'm not using my regular camera, but the quality should still be pretty good. It attracts a lot of fingerprints, so that is one thing to note. Get a screen protector if you're like me and don't like fingerprints. I still need to get a screen protector in a case for this. But on top you have your speaker grill cut out for when you have the phone, and then right there, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's a little red light. That's a sensor. When you put the phone up to your ear and you're talking, it actually turns the phone off, so the heat from your cheeks won't push any of the buttons. So that's a pretty nice feature. Down here you got 4 touchscreen buttons. Now these are touchscreens, so they may not be as responsive at times, but they do light up, so you will be able to see them in the dark. You got your home, menu, back, and search. And yeah, that's basically it with the hardware features. So now let's get into the actual phone. To unlock the phone, you cannot push any of these buttons down here. You can't push the volume rocker. You have to push this button up here, which can get, well, I mean, it can't get annoying, but that's just one note. When you've unlocked the phone, you're greeted to this, the slide to unlock feature with Android. It's a pretty common feature. You can either slide it this way to turn off your sound, like if you're in class and you just want to turn your sound on vibrate, or you can just slide it this way to unlock it. I just unlocked it, and as you guys can see right there, you get 6 different home screens. 6 different home screens here, which you can customize and build any way you want. You also get this little pull down window that takes you to your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your GPS, your data location, and everything else. Tells you the date. I have an app called Lookout installed. That's just basically like a virus protector. Task Manager is basically where you can close all of your apps. If you have any running apps, you can just hit end now. I know you guys can barely see that, but you can just hit end now, and then if you want to go home, just hit the home button. Pretty nice animation speed. Now I was gonna get the Samsung Intercept, but I read too many bad things about that phone. Even with the 2.2 Oreo update, it still wasn't that good. And sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I'm new to Android. Now these widgets, unlike the iPhone, you can take and move anywhere you want. They don't need to be in a row like this. I just got them in a row. But if you go to an empty page and you hold down the screen, you can get these widgets where you can customize the screen to anywhere you want. You can have shortcuts, widgets, wallpapers, and folders. Now one thing that I would not recommend is having a live wallpaper on this phone. Your phone will crash a lot if you have a live wallpaper. I had a live wallpaper ever since I bought the phone, and I noticed it was crashing a lot, and I just changed the wallpaper today back to the regular, just back to a plain old wallpaper, and I noticed that everything is running pretty smooth and it doesn't crash, not one bit. Now some of the apps that you can download on here you can get from the Android market. You just have to sign up with a Gmail account. You know, your basic Android stuff. This is your basic Android phone, but just with a larger screen. This is one of the prepaid Android phones that has a pretty large screen. Now to go into the main menu, you can just hit this. Takes you into this list right here. Tells you all your apps that you downloaded. Now unfortunately you cannot move these apps around any way you want. It just organizes it in alphabetical order. So that gives you that. So that was basically like an overview of the phone, telling you like widgets and all the other stuff. Now let's get into some mobile web browsing and YouTube, and of course the famous Angry Birds test. So let's just type in, or you know what, I'm going to test out the voice command. So I'm going to say YouTube, and it's going to tell me. So I can just go YouTube. Give it a chance to think. And there you go. You got YouTube right up there. But I'm going to delete that, because that's not what I want. So let's just do that one last time. YouTube. So as you guys can see there, just give it a chance to think. And this is running on Wi-Fi, not the 3G Edge, but 3G is pretty fast too. This is AT&T, I must remind you guys. So let's go into YouTube. Now it's going to tell me, do I want to use Opera Mini or the web? I'm just going to pick the web, because I'm showing you guys the web browser. Let's turn that by use by default web, because I got Opera Mini installed on here. That makes the thing go even faster, although it's already fast enough. So it takes you to your typical YouTube mobile page. It tells you what's new. Let's just watch a video. Now I know yesterday YouTube was all the way down. It wasn't working on the computer or anything. Let's see if I can view it in this mode first.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you a really easy, super simple makeup look using one of my most affordable palettes. This is the e.l.f. 144 eyeshadow palette. I actually got this the day after Thanksgiving. It was on sale for $10, but the retail price is $15, so it's still a really great deal. Everything else I use is also drugstore.
So as you guys can see, watching YouTube on here is a breeze. It doesn't lag, it doesn't do any of that crazy stuff. So you can watch YouTube on here pretty good, and the web browser itself is pretty fast. Now let's get into the Angry Birds test. Now I have been versing this with the LG Optimus V, because it seems like the only prepaid smartphone out there that can go against this phone. And when loading Angry Birds, they both loaded at approximately around the same speed. But when playing Angry Birds, there will be some times, as you guys may see in this video, there will be some times where you have to like maybe exit the app and restart it up because of lagginess or choppiness, which, I mean, that's alright. I barely play games on here. But and another thing to note is it takes a little while to load up. This is only with Angry Birds that I've seen so far. It doesn't take that long with Fruit Ninja. Doesn't take that long with basketball. So as you guys can see there, it's kind of laggy. Not the best experience you're going to get from playing Angry Birds on a mobile phone. Of course, phone box. And another thing is phone box. Okay. So I mean, all in all, it's going to be a pretty good experience playing on your phone. Now maybe this is because I'm connected to Wi-Fi, I don't know yet. But as you guys can see here, it's kind of laggy, kind of choppy. It's going to be kind of hard for me. But I mean, as soon as you get into the game, you barely notice it. You're good to go. And yeah. Now one other thing that I do want to point out right quick is the camera. Now let's go and test the camera. And another thing, when you exit apps, sometimes they... oh no, they didn't disappear. I was just all the way over here. Okay. There's no dedicated camera button, so that may be a turn off for some of you guys. I don't know. So let's go into the camera app. This is like camera through camera thing, but the camera on here, I've read some reviews online and people say that 3.2 megapixel camera is bad. I don't think it's bad at all, guys. It gets the job done for me. You know, it's way better than a 1.3 or a VGA camera that some basic phones have, but a 3.2 is pretty good. You know, it could be a little bit higher, but yeah, it doesn't really matter for me. So that's the camera, and it records pretty decent video too. The audio is not the best, but the picture quality you can surely make out. And yeah, so that concludes this video. 411 Deshaun here. Hopefully you guys like this video. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Peace.